Okay, I want to create this video of the Unit 2 review for anyone that may be stuck, or if you just want to check your answers, see how you did. I wanted to make this video to help you be able to do that. So we're going to work through the Unit 2 review and go from there. I'm probably not going to spend too much wait time, meaning like I may ask something, but then I'm going to answer it pretty quick after. It's just me working through the problems. So if you need to pause as you go through your review, please feel free to do so. That's what this video is for. It's to help you prepare for the test. Okay, number one, ask us to plot each point on the coordinate plane. So A, ask us to plot -1, 2. So I'll go to the left 1, up 2. There's A. B is at 5, 3. So I'll go right 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 3. There's B. C is at -3, -4. So I'll go left 3, since it's -3, down 4. And then D is at 4, -2. So I'll have to go right 4, down 2. There's D. Just remember on the coordinate plane, when you have points, X comes first, then Y. There's your X-axis, there's your Y-axis. If you remember that, you'll be in good shape. Okay, number 2. What is the coordinate for each of the following points on the plane? Well, remember, here's our X-axis, here's our Y-axis. So let's find the coordinates. For A, we're over at, for X, we go -1, 2, 3, 4, -4. And then up 1, so +1. For B, we go to +1 on the X-axis and up 4. For C, we're at +2. Then we go down 1. And for D, we go to -4 on the X-axis and down 3. So that'd be a -3. Okay, number 3, they ask us to find the midpoint of AB. Now, you may be able to do this just by looking at the graph. That works. If you can't, just remember for midpoint formula, we have x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. This is our formula for midpoint. So what are our coordinates for A? A is at 3, 4. So let's make note of that. A is at 3, 4. What about B? B is at -1, -4. So now we can use our midpoint formula that tells us to add the x's. So 3 plus -1 divided by 2. Then add your y's. 4 plus -4 divided by 2. 3 plus -1 is 2 over 2. 4 plus -4 is 0 over 2. And this reduces to 1 and 0. So 1, 0. Now, you also could have probably looked on the graph and said, oh, well, there's my midpoint right there. That works too. Okay, number 4, M is the midpoint of AB. So now we're having to go backwards. They give you the midpoint right there. M has coordinates of -2, 1. A has coordinates of 1, 0. Find the coordinates of B. So let's graph A. A is at 1, 0. M is at -2, 1. So then I have to ask myself, how did I move to go to M? Remember, M is in the middle. I went over 1, 2, 3, up 1. So then I do the same. Go over 1, 2, 3, and up 1. So my new point would be here. That's going to be B. What are the coordinates of B? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went -5 on the x-axis, and I went up 1, 2. So -5, 2 is our other endpoint B. Okay, number 5. Find the coordinates of the midpoint of AB with endpoints 3, 2 and -1, 9. So here they give us the end points. We just have to use our midpoint formula. So let's label our points: x1, y1, x2, y2. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2. y1 plus y2 divided by 2. 3 plus -1 is 2 divided by 2. 2 plus 9 is 11 divided by 2. That's 1, and then 11 halves. Now, if you wanted to put 1 and then 5.5, that would work too. But I'm going to leave mine as a fraction. Less work. Okay, so that's the first page. That's problems 1 through 5. Now let's get to the second page. 8 asks us to use the distance formula to find the distance between the given points. Remember, our distance formula is that long square root thing. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's what the distance formula says. So number 6, they give us 2 points, R and S. Let's label our points first. x1, y1, x2, y2. And then it just is a matter of plugging into the formula. 0 minus -1 squared plus 8 minus 4 squared. Now, if you type that into the calculator, you would get the square root of 17, which is approximately to 1 decimal place, 4.1. Now let's look at 7. 7 we do the same way. We just label our points x1, y1, x2, y2, and then set up our equation. So tu is the square root of -1 minus 5 squared plus 3 minus 1 squared. If we put that in our calculator, we'll find that we need to get the square root of 40, which is approximately 6.3. Okay, 8 asks us to use the distance formula or the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of segment MN on our graph here. So let's see, I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem because they give me a graph, which makes it easy. So let's see, how many did I have to go over? 1, 2. Went 2 over. How many up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. Now, remember the Pythagorean theorem is the one that says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's what the Pythagorean theorem says. So I'm going to plug in what I have. 2 squared plus 7 squared equals c squared. 2 squared plus 7 squared is 53 equals c squared. We can't leave it like that because I don't want c squared. So I have to take the square root, and that'll get me 7.3 for c, which means mn is equal to 7.3. Okay, number 9. Andrew has a rectangular poster that is 8 feet tall. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. It says it's 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. He would like to separate the poster into 2 sections by creating a diagonal from one corner to the opposite corner. Find the length of the diagonal, so we'll just call it C, to the nearest foot. That means whole number. Use the Pythagorean theorem here. 4 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. Four squared plus 8 squared gets you 80. So 80 equals C squared. Take the square root of both sides, and you'd get like 8.9. But since they want it to the nearest foot, we would have to say 9 feet. Okay, number 10. Determine if segment AB is congruent to CD. And to do that, we need to find the lengths of AB and CD. So since they give us the lines here in the graph, we'll do Pythagorean Theorem and start with AB. I went 1, 2, 3 over, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So if I do AB first, that would be 3 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. 3 squared plus 5 squared is 34 equals C squared. Take the square root, and you'd find that AB equals approximately 5.8. Now we've got to do the same for CD. So let's see, CD went 1, 2, 3 over, so 3 squared, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, plus 5 squared equals C squared. By now you're probably thinking, wait, they did the same thing. You're right, but let's finish the process. So CD is also equal to 5.8. So what can we conclude? They're both 5.8, which means AB is congruent to CD. Okay, on this next one, number 11, we have to determine what type of slope the graph shows. We don't have to find the slope, just what type of slope it has. And to do that, just remember slope man. Y'all did this in your legal notes in Algebra 1. So positive means it's going upwards left to right. Negative means it's going downwards left to right. Straight up and down is undefined. And then zero slope is a horizontal line. Just remember slope man. So let's go through here. What are we doing from left to right? We're going up, so that means this one has positive slope. What about the next one? AB. It's horizontal, so this one would have zero slope. For CD, we're going down left to right. So this one has a negative slope. And then for the last one, it's a vertical line which has an undefined slope. Now the next three are where we're actually going to find the slope. Remember that slope, all slope is rise over run, and we have to read left to right. which means we have to start at the left side and go over to the right. So what did I do to get from N to M? Let's see, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So my slope here would be 6 over, and then what did I run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can I reduce 6 over 7? No, so that's my answer. I went up 6 and then ran 7. Now for 13. I go left to right, which means I'm going to have to go down 5. So -5 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my slope here would be -5 over 9. Can't reduce it, so I'm done. Now 14, what kind of line is that? Say horizontal line. And what kind of slope do horizontal lines have? 0. So our slope here is 0. That's all we had to do there, just find the slope. Okay, next one. Now we're going to get more practice with slope, but in particular, we're going to get practice with the slope formula. Because we have to find slope to determine whether these are parallel, which remember that means they have the same slope. Perpendicular, which means they have opposite reciprocals. In case you forgot what that meant, that's like saying 1/4 and then -4. Or neither. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so they ask us about HJ. Let's label our points. X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and find the slope. So Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. It's -1 over 1, which is just -1. Then we've got to do Km. Label our points. So Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. It's going to give us -1 over 1, which again is -1. So if we compare the slopes here, we have a -1 and a -1. What kind of lines are these? These are parallel. Okay, 16, ask us about LM and then NP. So let's do line LM. Label our points, x1, y1, x2, y2. And now let's find slope. So 5 minus 2 over 2 minus -2. Going to be 3 over, looks like 4. Now let's look at NP. Label our points here, x1, y1, x2, y2. Find slope. So -2 minus 2 over 3 minus 0. -2 minus 2 is -4. 3 minus 0 is 3. We found both slopes. Now it's time to compare them. So are they the same? They're not the same, so they can't be parallel. Are they opposite reciprocals? Meaning, did we flip them and make one negative? Yes. 3/4, we flipped it and made it 4/3, and then it's negative. So that means these are perpendicular. Okay, next one. 17 says, what is the equation of the line 3, 2, 4 with a slope of 1/2 in point slope form? Point slope. What do I want my final answer to look like? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's see what they tell us. They give us a point of 2, 4. Well, there's our x1, y1. They give us a slope of 1/2. There's our m. We've already got everything we need. So we're going to say y minus y1 is 4 equals m, our slope. So 1/2 times x minus x1, which is 2. There's our answer. Okay, next one. What is the equation of the line through 0, 2 and -2, 8 in slope-intercept form? This is our other major form that we've talked about. That's the one that says y equals mx plus b. Now, one thing to keep in mind with our b, that's our y-intercept, which is always written in the point form of 0, b. Do I have a point that looks like this? Yeah, 0, 2. So that means my b is equal to 2. Well, getting b was easy. That's 2. But what about m? Did they give me the slope? No, I've got to find it. So label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and find slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 8 minus 2 is 6. Negative 2 minus 0 is negative 2. 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. So now I know my slope, I know my intercept. Let's write the equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 2. There she goes. Okay, the next three, we have to say whether the lines are parallel, if they intersect, or if they coincide. So for number 19, remember for these, we need them in slope-intercept form, so we need to solve for y. So let's subtract 5x. We're going to get negative y equals negative 5x. Divide by negative 1, and you get y equals 5x. Now let's look at the slopes. 5 and then 1/5. The other line is just y equals 1/5 x. Are they the same? No, so that automatically means they have to intersect. If they're not the same, then they have to intersect somewhere. Okay, now let's look at 20. Check your slope. I have a 1 and a 1. Nothing's there, we can always assume it's a 1. So what do we know? We have the same slope. What about our intercepts, though? Different intercept. So which line has the same slope but different intercept? Parallel. In 21, if we look at our two lines, what do we notice? They're the same. Which ones mean same? They're the same line. Coincide. So lines that are the same line coincide. Okay, now for the last three, we actually have to graph. So if we look at the first one, y equals negative 2. What kind of special line is this? If it's just y equals a number. This is a horizontal line. So on the y-axis, I'll go to negative 2, put a dot, and then it's just a horizontal line there. So draw a horizontal line. And that's our answer. Okay, 23. Our slope is -4/3. Our intercept is 2. So put a point at 2. And what's the slope tell us to do? We have to go down 4, right 3. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So those are our 2 points right there. Let me get my ruler here. And then draw me my line. There's our line. Okay, last problem on the review. We have a slope of 3, an intercept of -2. So I'm going to put a point at -2. And then the slope of 3, that's like saying 3/1. Not 3/3, 3/1. So I have to go up 3/1. Let's do that. Up 3/1. Up 3/1. Get my handy dandy ruler here, get it in position, or try to at least. Yeah, close enough. And then we can draw our line. There. Okay, so that's the chapter 2 or unit 2 review. Study it, know it, and good luck on the unit 2 test.